It is week 17 of the NHL season and emotions are running wild. We got guys losing it in the penalty box. Players are flipping the bird to the camera. The GOAT here is in tears. Guys are putting it all on the line just to get the W while we witness NHL history in the process. The league was on fire. So let's cover what really happened in week 17 of the NHL season. We start off the week with the Leafs versus the Avs, and Dwayne "the Brock" Nelson has himself a legacy game. Hat-trick performance. Do you smell what the Brock is cooking? He and the Avs dominate in this one against the Leafs as their season starts to unravel here. Typical Toronto media. The biggest story coming out of this game was William Nylander in the press box flipping the bird to the cameraman. Leafs season is quickly becoming a mess. Only a few weeks ago where it looked like Dougie Hamilton had hit rock bottom in New Jersey. He was a healthy scratch on the trading block, but now he's come back with a vengeance. 7-game point streak since the scratch, but Seattle comes out on top 4-2 with Joey Decord going for goal in this one. Empty net, goes for the goalie goal, but Joe Pesci's long-lost brother Brett Pesci stops it and robs us of all the joy. On to Ottawa, they get some big news. Linus Ullmark has returned to the lineup. He was just on the bench in this game, but that's still something, and the fellas seemed fired up by it. They put up a touchdown against Vegas. Everyone likes hearing that. 7-1 spanking for the Sens. In Vancouver, the hometown kid, 18-year-old Ben Kindle, has 180 friends and family watching him. That should run him for about half of his entry-level salary with the Canadian dollar, but he puts on a show regardless. He gets 2 goals, including the game winner. The scriptwriters were cooking in this one, especially with this wide open chance to tie it, and look at that. Stu Skinner dives over like a prime Marc-Andre Fleury to save the game. Penguins win their 4th in a row, and let's talk about Stu Skinner for a second. Listen to this stat line. In his last 8 games, he's 7-1-0, has a 1.63 goals against average, and a .934 save percentage. The Oilers could probably use a guy like that. Now, we all know that the Panthers are somehow going to climb back into the playoffs despite looking so far behind not too long ago. They beat the Blackhawks 5-1 and win their 3rd in a row. They're getting healthy at the right time, too, which probably has the Noivs going for every team in the Atlantic. Finally, we have the Ducks and Flames. This was all Calgary early, up 2-0, outshooting the Ducks 18-3. Anaheim was slide tackling their own teammates at one point, but it's the rookie who steps right up and shifts the mojo back. Beckett Seneca goes on a tear, scoring 2 goals in the second, off to OT. He's on a 2-on-1 with the vet Kreider. He says, "Sorry, old man, I'm absolutely rifling this one," and he buries. Hat-trick goal, sneaky pick for the Calder too, and the Ducks win their 7th in a row on the Sunday finale. Now, Monday, we only had 4 games on because the Kings and Blue Jackets game was postponed due to a snowstorm, but we start off with a couple shutouts anyways. First, it's the Lightning shutting out the Mammoth 2-0. Tampa has been the very definition of a wagon as of late. 16-2-2 in their last 20 games. Andrei Vasilevsky is looking like the old Vasilevsky, which should scare the shit out of every shooter in the league. This one got a little heated too with Sean Durzi in the penalty box. I'm no lip reader, but for some reason it seems like this guy really wants Carlisle to vacuum. Some guys are just clean freaks. I get it. The real freak, though, is Ilya Sorokin. He and the Islanders go up against the Flyers, where he was just absolutely locked in. 21 shots and 21 saves. He recorded his 6th shutout of the season. That leads the league, and I still can't believe the turnaround for the Islanders team. Getting Schaefer with the 1st overall pick has completely turned this franchise around overnight, and they look like they're probably going to make the playoffs. Now, the Rangers, on the other hand, are officially in a retool. The worse the tank, the better for them. But that is no bueno when you got guys doing this for you. Matthew Robertson takes it to the house. Backhand, forehand scores. Rangers can't even tank right as they beat Boston in OT. And finally, once again, the Oilers are involved in the craziest game of the night. It was 2-1 Ducks at one point, and then the Oilers score 4 goals in under 4 minutes, all by a defenseman, to suddenly lead 5-2. Hat-tricks this year have been off the charts for some reason. Mikael Granlund for the Ducks helps him crawl back by getting 3 of his own, but then with the empty net, Matthias Ekholm, who's already got 2 in this game, sinks the 200-footer for the hat-trick. And listen to this. This is the first time in NHL history where a team has had defensemen recording hat-tricks in back-to-back games. Bouchard and now Ekholm. The league is setting a record right now for Hatties too. 27 on the month in January isn't even over yet. Oilers win again with the back end coming up clutch. Now, before we hop into Tuesday's games, today's recap is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is easily the best app for finding deals on tickets, whether it's hockey, football, concerts, you name it. Every ticket on SeatGeek is graded on a scale from 1 to 10, so you instantly know if you're getting a good deal. If it's red, stay away. If it's green, that's a gem, and you should be all over it. Seriously, if you surf SeatGeek on a game day, you can find some absolute banger last-minute deals. Unfortunately for myself, the Leafs suck, but it does mean I get even better deals last minute on games using the app. It's a World Cup year, and SeatGeek already has tickets available on the app. I use it all the time for Leaf games. I use it for other events as well, and you can do the same by using code HOCKEY2026 to get 10% off your next pair of tickets. Just hit the link in the description to download the app, and it'll automatically apply the code to your account so you're ready the next time you find a deal. So make sure you download the app to get a great deal. It's 100% worth it, and once again, big shout out to our pals at SeatGeek for sponsoring these weekly recaps. Then we go to Tuesday, where the season seems like it's on the line here for Toronto with them playing the Buffalo Sabres. They honor Daryl Sittler on the 50th anniversary of his 10-point night, which basically guarantees the Leafs putting on a soulless performance. Rasmus Dahlin got halfway there himself with a 5-point night. He got his first hat trick of his career as well. The Sabres are such a goddamn wagon. It is incredible to watch while the Leafs are certified ass. Everyone has been asking, what is this team? Been making excuses for the injuries, blah, blah, blah. They're just flat out bad. They're not good. That game puts them 8 points out of the last playoff spot, and the season is on life support, especially because the Boston Bruins are staying hot. Morgan Geekie, with an absolute missile of a release, gets his 30th of the season. Just call the Geek Squad whenever you need a goal, apparently. And for a game winner, a fresh plate of pasta, David Pastrnak gets the OT winner. I legit think that Pastrnak is maybe the most underrated superstar in the game. We had him as the 8th best player in the world for our top 10 players going into the season, and when you look at who he's playing with and the numbers he puts up, this guy is just simply unbelievable, and he's keeping Boston in the playoff picture right now. Slowly slipping out of that picture are also the Panthers. I mean, they aren't as screwed as the Leafs yet, but they need every point they can get, and they goose egg against Utah. They now sit 6 points back of Boston for the last playoff spot, but the good news for them is that Alexander Barkov was seen back on the ice for the first time in months since tearing his ACL. If El Capitano comes back, watch out for the Panthers. We also have a Team USA snub update for you. Cole Caulfield, don't take him. He's a shrimp. He's too small. Can't play big boy hockey. Well, how about the 30th tuck of the season for him against Vegas? If Team USA loses in the Olympics, they sure as hell better not lose by 1 goal, or else this call will haunt them forever. Habs fans and Leaf fans also unite in booing Marner, but he can't escape the hell in Canada as Montreal tops it off with another OT win of their own, thanks to Jake Evans. In Detroit, Patrick Kane makes history. He gets an assist to tie Mike Modano for the most points by an American-born player of all time. Showtime will probably go down as the best American player when it's all said and done. Nice moment, even though Detroit lost to LA thanks to Anton and Uncle Forsberg being a wall. Riding the struggle bus back from injury is Connor Bedard. Blackhawks were up 3-0 in this game. They blow it, end up in a shootout, and Bedard has a chance to be the hero, but he ends up fumbling it. Whoop! Gotta check if there's a hole in that stick, pal. He just loses the handle, and he's only got 1 goal since returning from injury 9 games ago as Minnesota wins in a shootout to add salt in the wound. Dallas almost did the exact same thing, blowing a 3-goal lead and everything, but they just save the true choke for the conference finals. Like every year, they're able to pull it off against St. Louis. The most mid-team in sports history in the Seattle Kraken also get a legacy game from Jared McCann. 4-point night for him against the Caps, who've completely fallen off since last year. But that win now puts Seattle in a tie for that last playoff spot in the West, which is big news if you're a Sharks fan, because they are competing with Seattle for that last spot, and it seems like every game this kid Macklin Celebrini is doing something special. He's a teenager, can't legally get a beer in the U.S., but he's out here having 4-point games in the best league in the world. How about this piss missile of a shot, 1T from the slot, frame the hockey card. He leads the Sharks to another 5-2 win to stay in a 3-way tie with the Kraken and Kings for the last spot in the West. Now, on Wednesday, we start with the Battle of New York, and since the Rangers wrote their endearing letter to the fans, saying that they're committing to being asked for the season. That means that they're diving right into the tank job by healthy scratching Artemi Panarin all the way to the Olympics until they can at least find a trade for him that suits the Rangers. Meanwhile, the Islanders are already getting their money worth with Andre Palat. He scores in his first game as an Islander and adds an assist. The Island also want to get Sorokin a day off, so they called 1-800-BIG-SAVE-DAVE to come in and get the dub, and that's exactly what he does. Then, big news for Philly. Dan the Darth Vladar has returned, and he was feeling glovely in this one. Two unbelievable potential Save of the Year candidates, both diving across with the glove. That could easily be SeatGeek Play of the Week right there. We're also giving out hat tricks like it's candy, too. Travis Konecny gets the 29th hat trick of the month for the league. That sets an NHL record, and despite all that, Columbus still found a way to come out on top of this one. They have completely turned around their season ever since hiring Coach Rick Bowness. They're now 7-1 under him. Finally, we got Colorado and Ottawa, where the Sens show that even if they just get a touch below or above average goaltending, they could be one of the best damn teams in the league. Leaf fans are throwing up all over themselves watching Optimus Ram get another win for the Sens. As for Colorado, it's apparent that the Landeskog and Taves injuries have really hurt the Avs, as they've looked like a shell of themselves the past few weeks. Thursday, we're stepping right into the chaos. 15 games on Bettman Special coming up, and we started with a repeat of Wednesday's game between the Avs and Canadians. We got a jersey matchup for the ages here too. Habs versus Nordiques, but it's the captain, Nick Suzuki, that keeps Montreal rolling. He was a special teams beast all night. Scores on the power play, gets a shorty. Montreal bodies Colorado 7-3. The Avs are 2-4-2 in their last 8 games. Now, how about this for balls? When Matthew Schaefer was drafted, he said that the Islanders would not lose to the Rangers, and so far, he's a man of his word. He scores the game winner in a 2-1 win, and then they asked the kid afterwards what he learned after playing a home-and-home against the Rangers, and he said that Islanders fans are louder. What a savage. I love it. Just putting the Rangers in a body bag. Nearby, Jersey stays in the mix with Captain Nico Hischier grabbing the OT winner. They pretty much got to go on an absolute heater to get back in the playoff race. Choke of the day is also going to go to the Utah Mammoth. They're up 4-2 with 2 minutes left. Carolina scores not 1, not 2, but 3 straight goals before the end of regulation to steal a point from Utah. That just can't happen when you're in a playoff race. Keep doing that, you're going to lose your name and go back to being the hockey club. Of course, Tampa saw what Carolina did and rolled past the Jets to stay on top of the East, and that brings us to the present versus the future with Bedard versus Crosby. Pittsburgh has been red hot as of late. They are shockingly in a playoff spot, and they keep the ball rolling here. They score 4 goals in the second period to go up big. Game's pretty much all over. Then Connor Bedard does this. Little pullback, gets the defenseman sliding right into the concession stand, and then he just goes mano-a-mano, gunslinger style. He beats the goalie clean, sick puppy. It doesn't matter though, as the Chicago Bedards end up losing 6-2. We also got to do a piss test for these Atlantic Division teams. Boston wins another one against Philly, who have been a total disaster as of late. They've won just 2 of their last 12 games. They've come back to earth after being in a playoff spot for a good chunk of the season. Over to Buffalo. We got another hat trick. Alex Tuch, the Buffalo man himself, was a monster in this one, helping the Sabres win their 5th straight. But more than anything, I love his comments after the game. When asked about this streak from Buffalo, he said, "We're not just going to go for the playoffs. We're going for the cup." This guy's a UFA. He's from Buffalo. He wants to win in Buffalo. The Sabres need that in their culture. Give that man his damn money. Let's now go to the Caps and Red Wings. Lots happened in this game. First, we witnessed NHL history. Patrick Kane gets an assist on Ben Sherratt's goal and officially passes Mike Modano to become the highest scoring American-born player in NHL history. Well deserved for one of the most clutch son of a guns there ever was. Speaking of clutch, take a look at this. Wings are down by 1 with a minute left. They go to dump in the puck. It rims off the boards and beats Charlie Lindgren. What the hell is going on here? A little massage there from the hockey gods to get Detroit a point. This goes to OT, where in the dying seconds, Charlie Lindgren seems to hurt himself. He can barely put any weight on his leg, but he decides to stay in for the shootout. The last attempt misses, so Dowd has the chance to win it for their boy, and he does. What a dog. Afterwards, the Caps had to carry Lindgren down the tunnel like a war hero. What a game, and that's why hockey is the best sport in the world. Getting into the West now, the Wild pick up their scheduled win against Calgary. Tank is fully on there. In St. Louis, their season's pretty much on life support as well, as they're facing the defending Cup champs, who are 6 points back of a playoff spot. Matty Tkachuk gets his first goal of the season with the patience of a monk. Backhand, forehand has the goalie flopping like a fish, goes upstairs. Slick Rick right there. But tonight had a taste for the theatrics. This is tied 4-4. St. Louis has a power play, and in his wheelhouse is the best last name in the show, Jimmy Snuggeroo. 1T winner. Florida comes out empty-handed, and that is a huge loss, as all 5 Atlantic teams ahead of them got points today, so they're now 8 points out of a playoff spot. That also means that the Leafs are cooked as well. They lose to Seattle. They're now 10 points out of a playoff spot, and the hilarious part is that they traded their first-round pick to the Boston Bruins, so unless they finish in the bottom 5, Boston gets their pick. And they also have Fraser Minton, who is unbelievable right now at 21 years old. I'm also not finished there. It gets even better. The Stars were in Vegas tonight, and watch this play from Mitch Marner. They're down by 1 in the final minute. He picks this puck out of the air and rips it to tie the game. What a play. But there's still a little bit of Leafs in Marner, as Vegas would lose to Dallas in a shootout despite coming back from a 4-1 deficit in the third. Basically, long story short, parade's canceled in Toronto. Speaking of potential tank candidates, Vancouver beats Anaheim, which puts a slight dent in their tank plans, but they're so far behind everyone that they pretty much have that on lock. Finally, we had McDavid versus Celebrini in the main event. These two will be teammates in a few days here for the Olympics, but not tonight. San Jose comes out hot. 3-0 after the first. He even got Celebrini trying to wave off the high stick and penalties. He knows that ball don't lie, and it doesn't. The penalty remains, and the Oilers start coming on. 3 unanswered tucks, including the last-minute goal again. It's a Bouche bomb, too. Evan Bouchard is playing like he belongs on Team Canada right now, and so is Zach Hyman. OT winner off the dish from McDavid. Good night, Jim Kite. The Oilers come all the way back to end a wild night of hockey. Now, like I said, with a busy night, that means we're due for a Bettman special. So 1 game on for Friday. It's Columbus versus Chicago. And so since everyone is horny for hat tricks, we get another one with Charlie Coyle getting the 31st Hattie of the month in the league. The Chicago Bedards were also in full swing as well, living up to the name, as Bedard himself scored another goal and an assist in on 100% of the scoring in this one for Chicago, and yet another loss. The Blue Jackets, after firing their coach, are on a certified heater right now. 8-1 since, 4 wins in a row, and are now 6 points back of the Islanders for a final playoff spot. So we go to Saturday. Avs and Red Wings kick us off. This was a spanking start to finish, courtesy of the Nate Dogg. 2 goals, 3 points, first to 40 tucks on the season. He's looking to go into the Olympics red hot. Next up, Kings versus Flyers. The Philly downfall continues. Quinton Byfield, OT winner rip, puts the Kings back in a playoff spot, especially because the Sharks get the Wolf treatment. They are down by 1 in the final minute, and they get the look that they want. Macklin Celebrini, mono a mono, one-timer in the slot, and Dustin Wolf with the stretch. Armstrong, how are ya? Robs Celebrini. The Flames snap their 5-game losing streak, and just like that, the Sharks are out of a playoff spot. Then, in Pittsburgh, they honor the 2016 Stanley Cup winning team with a tribute, and Sid gets emotional. A tear comes down his eye. We're all getting old, and it sucks. Sometimes the GOAT's gotta cry too, but that's okay, because Pittsburgh puts on a clinic for 40 minutes. They had a 5-1 lead going into the third, and they almost blow it. Yeah, 6-5 final in this one as the Rangers make a late push, but Pittsburgh is able to pull it off. Meanwhile, I think it's officially panic at the disco time for Florida. They lose 2-1 to the Jets with 5 Atlantic teams above them, all red hot, and they're now 8 points out of a playoff spot. We've said all year long that no one's worried, but I think it's time to start worrying now. Let's go to the Caps and Hurricanes and watch this. Tom Wilson around the mountain, boom, lays out Stankoven, and then the Caps come back to score. Washington was down by 3 in this game, and they come all the way back with sort of staying hot for the OT winner. There you go. Canes take the choke of the night. Then we have a huge Atlantic Division matchup between the Sabres and Canadiens, but it's Saturday, which means Mr. Saturday Night himself clocks in. Cole Caulfield Caufield is into the game. Not just one, but 2 goals, including the game winner where he's Johnny on the spot. Habs cool off Buffalo with a 4-2 win right there. Our toilet bowl game of the night belongs to the Leafs and Canucks. One is on a full-on tank while the other is as well, but they just won't admit it. This goes to a shootout where Austin Matthews goes forehand, backhand, lights out, points to the crowd to say we're coming for the 10th place spot in the East. Meanwhile, in Ottawa, this is awesome. Linus Ullmark has returned, which should make the league nervous because the Sens may be a wagon with an actual goalie. He steps right in and stops 26 of 27 against New Jersey. He was lights out in a 4-1 win, and what a moment here. He gets the first star of the game in his first game back and gets emotional too. That's how you do a comeback. Over on Long Island, the Matthew Schaefer show continues. He pots his 15th goal of the year as an 18-year-old rookie defenseman. But Roman Josi will be coming around the mountain, says, watch this kid. Carves through the Islanders and buries the game winner. Preds win 4-3, and I'll tell you right now, the Islanders are here in the footsteps of Columbus. They win again for their 5th win in a row and are now just 4 points back of the Islanders for 3rd in the Metro. Let's go out west where things are getting tight in the Pacific too. Yeah, we chirped Seattle a bit earlier in the video, but we do got to give them credit now. They beat Vegas 3-2 to move into 3rd in the Pacific, and they're chasing the Oilers who got Minnesota. Now, the big boys for the Wild, we're feeling it in this one. Quinn Hughes, goal and an assist. The Carillionaire gets his 30th of the season. And how about this from Brock Faber? Call this guy margarine because he slices through Bouchard like butter, then tucks it. 7-3 beatdown over the Oilers. And here's a Shanghai Jari stat for you. His performance with the Oilers has been all over the place. 7 games with the Oilers where it's an 800 save percentage or below for Jari. That right there is no bueno. Maybe they should trade for a guy like Stuart Skinner. So, what did you think of Week 17? Who surprised you? Who pissed you off? Let us know in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see our breakdowns from this past week, click on any of the videos right here. And also, if you want Olympic coverage coming up in the next few weeks, our channel is going to have all of it. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss a single thing.